Hello, my name is Liz Piernot. I am the head spirits instructor for Napa Valley Wine Academy. Today we're doing a panel on WSET Level 1 in Spirits, and we have some students who have taken WSET Level 1 in Spirits from Napa Valley Wine Academy. And I'd like to introduce our panel today. We have Donna with DB Wellness Enterprises, Monette, who is a recently promoted regional director of Winebow in Northern California, and Peter, who is recently retired and looking to get back into the spirits business. I would like to start with Donna. Why did you decide to take WSCT Level 1 in Spirits with Napa Valley Wine Academy?
Hi, everyone. So a number of reasons. I am a physician, and as Liz mentioned, I am president of DB Wellness Enterprises. And through that company, I normally try to host wine and wellness and spirits types events and retreats. So I have a couple of certifications in wine, and all of my groups, I have two that are huge. One is Soulful Sisters, and they love wine, but they also wanted to expand into spirits. So, in order to really host and do some education around that, I thought it would be great for me to get a little more formal training in that area to help as far as spreading the word and educating others and increasing the level of interest in spirits. So that's why I took level one to kind of educate myself and also help inform the retreats and the getaways that I do around different topics.
Fantastic. Monette, I'm going to go ahead and turn to you at the exact same question. What made you decide to take Level 1 in Spirits from WSCT?
I chose this because not only do I sell wine, I sell spirits. And I had a few great buyers that are highly educated in spirits. So when they came to me and was like, well, this whiskey was distilled and blah, 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 I was kind of out of the loop. I didn't know any of that. Or if they asked for certain tequilas with, 100% agave or, bat certified, I was just like, I am so confused right now on what you're even speaking about. So for me, taking level one was just to build more confidence in spirits when it came to selling them to my buyers, especially my Total Wines. Those guys are really educated, and through that, I actually gained more respect, um, from them because I walked in confident with now the education that I have received.
Fantastic. And Peter, same for you. What made you decide to take the Level 1 Spirits from WSCT?
Well, I've been a bourbon hobbyist for about 10 years, and I need to expand my knowledge. Here in Southern California, it's a big tequila culture, and I love the tequila, so there's a lot of information going around. But I really am very appreciative of the craftsmanship and the history of whiskey all around the world, and finding out all the little facts that are offered in the level one course. It's just fascinating to me, and I just eat it up. It's I can't get enough information. I mean, I love to know that a French oak wood is grown all years forest and stuff like that, and I'm fascinated to know more about cooperages and knowing it all kind of all circles seemingly to Scotland. So learning all stuff like that is just so exciting for me, and I grew up my parents owned a bar in New Jersey, so I was always around the liquor industry. It's, alcohol is in my blood, I guess is the joke. But so it just seemed natural, and I love every moment of it. And you're a fantastic instructor, just answering all my questions that I might be out of place, but you're fulfilling all my knowledge.
Oh, and it's very common for students to ask questions that are beyond the course information, and we try to answer them when we can appropriately. But no, it's been great having all three of you in different classes over the last year. So one of the questions, you all took the course online. Did you find it challenging taking the course online and keeping up with the coursework?
No.
No, I think it was laid out really well between the videos are really helpful of all the other experts throughout the world. Uh, the books are fantastic, and the repetition of the information in different formats really helps everything sink in.
I also thought it was pretty easy to follow. This isn't my business, so I am, really new to the to the industry, et cetera. But I enjoyed having a live online teacher, because a lot of studies I may do that are self-study or self-paced is just me and the materials. So I really liked, Liz, having you available to live to answer questions, as well as the written materials I thought were great, as well as, just the interaction with others in the class as well.
Hmm.
So, just to clarify, for those of you who don't know, the way we run the level one spirits course from WSET, it is a 4 week long course. There is an online platform where you do take classes online, but then at the same time, you also get 3 live webinars that are hosted throughout the course and over three weeks. And you can ask questions there. Then throughout the course, you can also send questions to myself if you are have a course question that comes up during your studies. And if you're not able to attend the live webinars, they are recorded and you are able to catch up on them if you're unable to make a webinar. So it's always great to have a live instructor to be able to answer the questions and have that feedback. One of the things that I was wondering particularly is about the tasting portion, and particularly finding the tasting samples throughout the course. In the beginning, at the beginning of the course, we send out an email saying what all the spirits are that we're tasting, and I'll say something, we're tasting a big brand bourbon, and I'll be tasting the Woodford Reserve, for example, or a VSOP cognac, and I'll be tasting the Remy Martin VSOP cognac. Did you have problems finding those samples? And if you weren't able to find them, were you able to find something similar?
I honestly had no problem at all. I mean, I just went to Total Wine. I let my guys know, hey, this is what I need. They gave me, you could buy the little small sample, shot little things, or buy the actual bottle. So there were some that I actually bought the bottle, and then there was a few that are like, I'm never probably going to drink this again. I am definitely not a cognac girl, so I just bought the little guy. And no, I think you made it very educational, and it was great because when you told us you were drinking a certain whiskey or something and we were drinking something else, it was kind of nice to see how everybody got what was coming through when we tasted.
Yeah. And I'm in a major metropolitan city, so I didn't have any issue either. I just went to the local, liquor store, and I did get small samples. Some of the things I had already on my shelf. I recently had gone to cognac and champagne, so I had a lot of those already. But if I didn't have it on my shelf already, I just went to the local liquor store and had my list and really focused on the smaller samples. But they had everything that, if they didn't have the small sample, then I just got the bottle. But I liked the small samples for a lot of the things that I hadn't, had before, or like, the others said may not have again.
And
Fantastic.
myself, yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, so of course everything's available here. Uh, in minis, not so much. Finding a unpeated single malt Scotch in a mini was a little bit challenging, but I, yeah, certainly everything's on the shelf.
Fantastic. We really did try to find particularly labels that would be available in mini bottles, though I will be the first to admit that some of especially the single malts, are a little bit harder in the minis format, in that little 50 milliliter size. But, we do try our best, and especially if students can't find that exact label, we really do try to work with students who have other spirits and at least be able to find the expression that best shows for the tasting portion. Now, I fully understand you're working jobs, you've got lives going on. How did you find balancing studying and your life and everything else that's going on in the world? Did you find any particular study tips that were useful? Donna, why don't we start with you?
I really just had to put it on my calendar. I live by my calendar. So I just, made sure I had whatever, an hour, 2 hours, and looked at all the material. I tried my best to be online for the instructor led courses so I could ask questions. So really, I put it on my calendar time to study.
Monette, did you have any particular study tips that worked well or were better than others?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say I have to put it on my calendar too. I'm a single mom, so I have to. Time management is definitely something you have to stay on top of these courses, I believe, because you'll miss something, But yeah, I made sure that I was in on the classes, taking notes, really tasting and opening my palate to spirits. Um, and honestly just setting a time aside early morning before everybody's up and around, and or before bed, or I studied when the kids were studying, so that's how I handled it. But taking notes, reading it.
Fantastic. Peter, any big tips you found?
So same here. Time management was an issue, but being I'm so fascinated by this issue, I just dedicate hours and hours of diving into it, which is really helpful in consuming the knowledge. So I just really focus on a given time. But we all have to schedule stuff.
Understand. Now, I'm curious, is there anything that you all found the most challenging in the course?
Personally, for me, it was just the mixed cocktails, trying to figure out the highball, all that kind of stuff, and remembering those seemed harder for me than anything else, which I find that to be strange. I don't know why. Besides that, I thought everything else was perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say the exact same thing. A lot of the cocktails, the names were familiar, but as far as the classification, as far as where
Yeah.
they fit, related to the way you formally categorize them, was a bit challenging for me. I had to, something I thought might be a highball wasn't. It was so it took me some time to really get that, practice and get that in my head.
Hmm.
I have to say ditto here. It's the long sour and a short sour was
Yeah.
one that I really had to focus on a lot to figure out exactly what the minute differences are. The club soda, yeah.
Hmm.
But
Completely
also
understand.
for me personally, the tasting and trying to really focus on what the different flavors are opened up a world for me that I wasn't so strong into because, like I said, mostly I normally just drink bourbon and tequila. But getting into Scotch, I'm really learning how to appreciate the Scotch and the cognacs more because well, focusing on those flavors and knowing what to look for or what category to look for is really challenging, but expanding, my knowledge and my enjoyment.
Completely understand. No, it's great to see being able to expand what people are looking for in spirits. I will admit the cocktails are very different with the different cocktail families of the long sour and the short sour. And it's just in the highball. It's a different way of looking at cocktails than what we particularly are used to seeing. So it always makes it a little bit of a challenge. But the good news is it's only a few questions and not most of the bulk of the material for the course. Out of curiosity, what was your favorite part of the course?
I like bourbon as well. So it was really interesting to learn that process and just the number of steps and the number of, I would just say the manpower and the labor and everything that goes into what's in that bottle. It was just fascinating to me. And I could say that about all the spirits, but like I said, am a bourbon drinker. So that one was really just amazing to me as far as, the classification, the whole process, the distilling, et cetera, as far as what it takes to get that liquid, that great liquid in the bottle.
I personally would say tequila. I love tequila. So I think just finding or just learning the history and how it all came about, and the classifications of that, I think that's great. I think the agave plant is just absolutely gorgeous, and how it's all processed and done. All that information was just really exciting, honestly. And it was kind of fun to learn about the post distillation operations, also how a vodka now can become cake batter or whatever, whipped cream, or and because in wine you can't do that, so in spirits it was kind of fun to hear and see the process of how you now get Fireball and apple whiskey and all the other stuff that they could do to it. I thought it was interesting.
And especially with the explosion of flavored whiskeys in the market right now, it is always fun to see all the differences that are coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Peter, did you have a favorite part?
Yes, I did. It was learning all the different distillation processes for the different alcohols was very fascinating for me. How cognac needs to use a heat source for their pot stills, a gas versus steam or steam jacket, which most of the other distillation processes use. That was very interesting. So it captivated me.
All the different regulations regarding what you can and can't do and what kind of stills you can use is always a fun one. And I know Peter just started our level 2 course, so I was going to say, knowing what our lecture content is on Thursday, you're going to have a lot of fun, Peter, because we'll be talking about all the different distillation methods even more in detail for level 2 in comparison to level 1. So it'll be a lot of fun. So, Monette, I know you have, I believe you have taken some other WSET courses from us. What other courses have you taken with us?
I've taken level 1, 2, and 3 in wine.
Fantastic. And level 1 in spirits.
Yes.
And Donna, I believe, have taken a few other WSET classes with us also?
Yes, I've taken level 1 and 2 in wine, and now level 1 in spirits.
Perfect. And Peter has just finished level 1 in spirits and just started level 2 in spirits, correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. So, Peter, I'm guessing you have not taken the exam yet, because I believe since you just wrapped up the level 1 in spirits.
No, it's I'm actually taking it on Valentine's Day, but I'm doing well. I like that on your website you have the mock exams because I'm constantly taking those, and I was at 28 and now I'm at 30 because I have the ability to repeat and go back and check my two wrong answers and correct it and find out again what the difference between long sour and short sour is.
Completely understand. Donna and Monette, how long did you wait until you took the exam? How did you find the exam process? Any tips for Peter for getting ready for the exam? Or others who are listening to this?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I had conflicts with my schedule and traveling, so I think it was maybe 2 months after the course before I took the exam. My advice would be, take it as close to the training as you can, while it's still fresh in your memory. That's one tip. The other thing, and I think kind of Peter alluded to, my notes, when I was doing kind of mock exams or whatever, I would make sure I paid attention to those things I didn't do well in, and I made my own little, note cards, etc., with some of the key points. I just study better that way. So that was something that I did, and yeah, those are just a couple of things that might be helpful.
Thing I like to say about the way that the website's laid out for when you're doing the mock exam is when you're approaching a question you're not sure, you can go back, just scroll back to the information to check, and it's so convenient to learn that way.
Monette, do you have any tips on getting ready for the exam or how long to wait for the exam?
Honestly, I have to take it almost immediately after. Sometimes my brain doesn't retain things all the time, so I have Post-it notes, sticky notes everywhere. Just trying to remember geography of where certain things are coming from, like cognac and tequila, all that stuff. So note taking is definitely where I thrive and are able to study from. But yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I think I took it a week after and just reread the book like 3 times, which is small.
Completely understand. I, some people joke, if you read the book like 18 times, you'll have it memorized by that point. My don't have that type of brain, so it takes more than 18 times. But I find note taking, flashcards, retaking the mock exam, retaking quizzes in the course, all those things are really helpful. Did either of you have any issues with the online exam process itself?
Now, I must say, I was thankful that that I had went through the process with the wine courses, because really it's a little nerve wracking to me if it's your first time doing it. Once again, I had to move my location. I wanted to make sure there was nothing around, because you really can't have think they give you the rules as far as not having stuff around on the walls, or whatever on your desk or under the table. So really make sure you get in a place where it's pretty much you and the computer,
Yeah.
and that you're not going to have any distractions. So my house isn't set up like that. I got stuff all, all over the place and on the walls, and so I really had to be intentional and conscious and test my internet connection where I was going to take the test, which I ended up taking it in the basement in one of my rooms there. So, like I said, if you have not taken those kind of exams before, I think it's a little challenging, and just make sure you in advance do what they tell you to do as far as the prep steps and when they send you the emails, etc. So
Monette, did you have any issues with your exam online?
No, just like Donna, I've done it with wine, but I would also recommend don't just push off running the test and everything. I know some of us, I have done it, where you just push it off and then it's like 15 minutes before test and you're running around with your head, blown up, and you're just like, ah. But yeah, I recommend like running through it a couple hours before, making sure that you're, got that hour or 30 minutes, hour, whatever, cut out for your time, because it is a little, um, it gave me anxiety, but I just wanted to make sure that there was nothing on the walls and stuff like that. So I ended up taking it in a closet, my daughter's closet. I put her desk in there and shut the door and put a light in there and just, souped around just to make sure that I was good to go.
Fantastic. And I completely understand the issues. As you can see, I've got bottles behind me. I've got so many
Yeah.
bottles of whiskey on the floor around me for my own studies right now, and a whole wall of books over here. So, I always tell students one of the big things with the exam is making sure and I use the phrase clean room, just in the sense that there is like nothing in it because they don't
Yeah.
want maps on the walls, books, any bottles of alcohol. And, truly, if you have access to an empty guest room or conference room, those are always great places. And I always suggest reaching out to our local public libraries. They're always usually pretty good about helping students take exams elsewhere. But I'm glad to hear the exam process was painless, and outside of the exam stress, it didn't add any additional stress for you through that. Is there any particular things that you found particularly helpful for you for looking? I know you're looking into your next careers. Anything in particular that you found that would be helpful for you?
Oh, absolutely. It's all the minutia that I'm not familiar with is the key for me. Um, that's where I feel one could build an expertise is by knowing little facts, like I mentioned, the forest where the French oak is I guess what's the proper term, gathered, I guess, or foraged. Um, so it's all the minutia, that the little pieces of knowledge that I wasn't aware of in all aspects of the post distillation, the local laws, as you mentioned before, is very fascinating. What's on the label, all that kind of stuff is opening up a new world of knowledge for me. So
Fantastic. And Monette, I know you just recently got a promotion. Has the getting your level 1 in spirit certification helped you with that? Has it helped you with talking more with clients? How has it helped?
Yeah, actually, I was running against some amazing employees that wanted the promotion also, but because I have my education in wine and spirits, it kind of gave me that next step that they were looking for. They, they want somebody to have that education so that we can walk into these stores and get new placements of different whiskeys that we sell, or champagnes, or just having that education. Honestly, working in a man's world when it comes to distribution, you being a woman and getting that education kind of puts you above step of them, and then they're like, oh, she knows what she's actually talking about. Okay, we respect her opinion. We'll bring in that new tequila, or bring in that new wine, or whatever spirit that they're looking for. So I definitely recommend it. I think it's really put my career on a fast pace in distribution, for sure.
Fantastic. And Donna, so is your next trip going to be to Kentucky or Tennessee that you're planning?
Nice.
Actually, yes, yes, we're going to Kentucky in April, so I'm excited about that. It'll be my first kind of spirits retreat, and we will be focusing on some of the whiskeys there in Kentucky, so I'm excited about it. But yes, the education that I gathered, I definitely will be using in the different events that I sponsor, or tastings that I do, or retreats that I also host. And I think for me, I really want to make wine as well as spirits more approachable and less intimidating for people. So that's something that I really try to really focus on with the education that I have, letting others know you can learn more about this. This is what this is about. This is what you're tasting. Just to help expand knowledge and expand palettes. So that's something that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And really, just to kind of wrap up, is there any sort of final thoughts that you would give just to somebody who is thinking about taking level 1 in spirits, if they're on the fence about it, if they're worried the class is going to be too hard? Sort of final thoughts that you would give to anyone?
Honestly,
For
I would
me,
say just do it. Just do it. Jump in, go for it. I mean, you can't, you might fail, and you might have to retake the test again, and you might have to, but failure is fine. That's just where you grow. So I say do it, jump in. It's a blast. You've been a fabulous teacher. You really broke it down where my little ADD brain can comprehend things. So I appreciate everything you've done. You've been a fabulous teacher. And I say just do it. Go for it. What are you risking here?
yeah. I agree. I think if you have any, slight interest in the topic, it's definitely worth doing. It's an investment in yourself. And I'm all about education and growth. And so I think it's another area, once again, that a lot of people don't know a lot about, and they get intimidated by. A lot of us are consumers, but a lot of us don't know what it takes to produce that product. So I would definitely say, just do it as well. Jump in there with both feet. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
And Liz was great. I really do agree with that. She was a great instructor, very approachable, very responsive. Anytime I had a question or something, she was there and responded pretty quickly. So I really appreciate that, because we all have limited time to do a lot of stuff, and you want folks to be responsive, especially when you're trying to learn. So I appreciated the whole process, and Liz, especially for your leadership and instruction.
Well, thank you for the kind comments, Bernadette and Donna. Peter, any thoughts for people who are on the fence?
Absolutely. There's a big whiskey culture, as you said, now in the U.S. and tequila as well, and it's a lot of fun. But knowing more information makes it even more fun. If you're
Mm-hmm.
just a regular consumer, and sharing that information, getting other people enthused about it is exciting. It opens up the world outside of just having a drink and relaxing or laughing with your friends. Uh, it brings a deeper understanding and appreciation of it all. But then again, if you're entering the whiskey industry, of course, uh, if I encounter somebody who really knows a lot about every whiskey, or even a little bit about tequilas and rums, and I'm more focused on the information that they're going to give me. So you can be that person.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate everyone's time in being here today and being able to answer some questions, and hopefully inspiring some students to sign up for WSET Level 1 in spirits. I hope to see Monette and Donna in level 2 sometime in the near future. And Peter, I look forward to seeing you in the level 2 class.
I
And
can't
greatly
wait.
appreciate it. It's going to be a fun one. But I greatly appreciate everyone taking the time to be here today.